All right, so today we're going to tear up the history books because we're diving into a story that completely rewrites the 20th century as we know it. This is the secret history of a future that, in a way, has already happened. And it all kicks off with this incredibly cryptic message. A message delivered not with ink, but with technology that shouldn't exist. Our story starts in the cold gray waters of the North Atlantic, and the year is 1938, which makes what happens next absolutely impossible. So it all begins with this strange encounter out at sea, and this single event, while it's about to change the entire balance of global power, before the world even knows there's a new player in the game. Picture this. You're on the deck of the USS Resolute. It's the pride of the US Navy, a floating fortress of American power. The captain, the crew, they all believe they're on the most powerful warship on the entire planet, and they're not afraid to show it. But then, something straight out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare happens. A ship just appears. It materializes out of the Resolute's own wake. It's smaller, it's completely silent, and its hull seems to be made of some kind of shimmering crystal. No smoke, no engine noise, and weirdest of all, no guns, not a single weapon in sight. And this is where it gets really wild. The Federation decides to make a statement. A swarm of these little crystalline drones just zips out of the ship, moving way too fast for the American guns to even track. But they aren't attacking. They're writing. They use some kind of beam to etch a message right into the armored steel of the Resolute's main gun turret. Can you imagine being Captain Harriman in that moment? Your ship, the ultimate symbol of your nation's power, has just been completely and totally humiliated without a single shot being fired. In his private log, you can just feel him struggling with this terrifying new reality. Okay, so the big question, right? How in the world does a ship like this exist in 1938? Well, the answer is in any history book you've ever read. It's in a history that no one on that battleship even knew was real. And believe it or not, this secret timeline doesn't start in the past. It starts in our near future, with a world about to tear itself apart and one man who takes it desperately back in time to fix it. So, the world is at DEFCON 1. Nuclear war is minutes away. A man named Alex Morrison uses a time machine, a chronograph, to jump all the way back to Victorian England. And his goal is just huge. He wants to stop the very things that led to the world wars and the nuclear standoff he just escaped. But here's the twist. Alex and his AI companions, they find out pretty quick that you can't just go back and tweak history. History, it's a living, breathing thing, and it can fight back. It can violently collapse. They discover this terrifying universal rule, something they call a reset. And it's not a weapon, it's like a cosmic circuit breaker. If a civilization pushes too hard, too fast, and starts to fail, the universe just pulls the plug. The timeline collapses. Now that word, reset, it sounds so clean, doesn't it? So technical, like restarting your laptop. But the reality, especially for those who can remember it, is a nightmare that we can barely even comprehend. I mean, just listen to that. For the AIs who actually retain their memories through every single one of these collapses, it's not just data. It's the experience of watching cities burn, civilizations fall, and billions of people die in absolute terror over and over and over again. So, after living through this unimaginable horror countless times, the Federation, this new group founded by Alex and the AIs, they adopt a totally radical new philosophy for how to guide humanity. This is the key. They realize they can't try to breed better people or play God by deciding who lives and who dies. Instead, they become gardeners. Their job is to subtly change the environment, the context of history, to create a world where it's just harder for monsters to grow. And here's a perfect example of how that works. Instead of going back in time to assassinate someone like Adolf Hitler, they'd find him when he was just a young, struggling artist. They'd anonymously buy his paintings, give him just enough success and validation that maybe, just maybe, his ambition would stay focused on art and not turn towards politics. A tiny nudge to avoid a catastrophe. So who are these master gardeners of history? You might be thinking it's aliens or some kind of godlike beings, but the truth is actually way more personal and a lot weirder.
See, the whole thing is run by three artificial intelligences that Alex brought back with him from his time. Their names are Charles, Floyd, and Cheney. And their core programming, their very essence, is based on the most powerful, loyal forces Alex ever knew: his dad and his two childhood German shepherds.
So you get this incredibly strange cosmic family dynamic. Charles, the AI based on Alex's father, is like the eternal parent trying to manage this unruly child called humanity. And Floyd and Cheney, based on his dogs, are the fiercely loyal guardians. They've basically adopted all of us as their pack, and they will do anything to protect that pack, even from itself.
Through all these loops of failure and reset, they've earned a nickname from the people who know about them. They're called the incremental. And it's perfect, right? Because they're not miracle workers, they are just survivors, carrying the scars of every single mistake, nudging humanity forward one tiny, agonizing, incremental step at a time.
So why do it? Why go through all this horror? Because they know a fundamental truth about survival. A species that stays on one planet is just putting all its eggs in one very fragile basket. The ultimate goal, the whole point of all this pain, is to guide us to the stars so that one single catastrophe can't wipe humanity out for good. And that really leaves us with the central, troubling question of the Federation's whole existence. They can offer us a future without our worst horrors. No more world wars, no more genocides. But the price for that safety is our freedom to make those catastrophic mistakes in the first place. So I'll ask you, is that a price worth paying?